Thank you to Reallusion for sponsoring this video. Hi everyone, today I'm taking a look at Cartoon Animator 5 and trying out the new vector features in this update. Check the link in the description if you want to try it for yourself. So lately I've been really inspired by platform games, especially if they have a minimalist, blocky style. I used Affinity Designer on the iPad and then on PC to make these backgrounds. If you want to be able to move objects and props independently from each other in Cartoon Animator 5, the way you structure your file before you bring it into the program is important. As you can see here, I have my sky layer separate from the clouds, which makes both of these sections able to move. However, the clouds are in a group, which means if I want to animate them in the timeline, they act as one image. For these tests, I have two saves. The first is the original Affinity Designer file, and then when I'm happy with the design, I will export the final as an SVG because it preserves the vector layers and means the file is directly editable from Cartoon Animator 5. Other supported software for vector art is Adobe Illustrator, CorelDRAW, and Inkscape. If you're just working with pixel or raster-based projects, you can use Adobe Photoshop, Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, Clip Studio Paint, Krita, and Photopea, which are also supported here. Using vector artwork means you can zoom in on any project, background, or character, without the images becoming blurry or jagged as they would with a raster-based image. With a new blank project open, I can select Create Media, Scene, and import my SVG file. If I want to change the colour of something, I can launch my SVG file here, change it, save it, and it will mirror the change in Cartoon Animator 5. Now I want to create a parallax effect with this background, so I went to the 3D view, selected the Scene tab where all my layers are shown, and used the camera zoom, pan, and rotate tools at the top to bring them closer to or further away from the camera. Objects that are closer to the camera will move faster. Those further away will move slower, and layers like the sky will need to be larger to make up for the distance and fill the camera view so there are no gaps. Adjusting the scale of your layers can be done out of the 3D view with the Select tool and clicking and dragging the corners. Coming out of the 3D view, I selected Show Timeline and made sure I was on the first frame of the project before selecting Camera Record Mode, where I can use the camera zoom, pan, and rotate tools to create my start and end points for the camera move. To see your keyframes, go to the Camera tab beside Project in the timeline. If you can't see this, click Track List and select Project from the menu. At the moment, the move is a little sharp, so we want to add some easing to it. You can do this to individual keyframes or simply click and drag to select multiple. Right-click and select Transition Curve, which will bring up some options to choose from along with a strength slider. Clicking any of these graphs will preview the move if you are in the camera record mode. If I want to fill in a bit more of the canvas or hide some gaps between layers, I can select a layer from my scene and choose Duplicate at the top. This will make a new layer in my scene that I can rename and position where I want it. In the Content Manager, you can find extra characters, props, scenes, and animation presets to use. Simply drag them into your scene and position where you like. If you don't want to design everything yourself, you can also pick up extra packs of characters and movements, which are available through the content store on their website. To change the look of this character, I can go to the SVG color adjustment on the left, and in these folders change things like skin tone and hair color. If I can't find the section I want to change in the folders, I can click the character myself and it will highlight it in the window. Adjusting the colors in either single sections or multiple is very easy. You can also remove sections from view by lowering the opacity as well. Now for this background, the style is much simpler than some of the characters in the Content Manager, and I actually think the base character templates would work very well if I customized them a little. To do that, I need to select the character, go to Composer at the top left, then launch PSD Editor, which will open Affinity Designer. At the moment, these layers are pixel-based, and all I need to do is use these as a guide to create new vector layers with my design. Make sure they're named exactly the same, and then remove the pixel layers. I can go back to Cartoon Animator 5, select Import PSD SVG Assets, and find my file. Depending on how you've edited the file, you may need to adjust the bones in the bone editor. Now going back to the main project, I can either animate the character myself or choose from the animation presets in the content manager by clicking and dragging and dropping them onto my character. If you're working on single characters or scenes to use later, you can save them in the content manager to reuse in other projects. When I'm happy with how the animation looks, I can go to the top and select Render, Render Video, and then in the new window adjust my export settings. And this is my final animation. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks again to Reolution for sponsoring this video, and I'll be back with more animations and tutorials real soon. Bye!